We're going to head over to our Storm here, who made some deals official and continued to add their roster. So we're going to move over here. The team would sign guard Yvonne Turner. So this came the day after the Storm made the deals of Guirantes and Charles official. We had talked about those and we had mentioned those last week, that those were deals that were rumored to happen. Those deals are made official now, so we won't go over them again. On the 7th, the team signed guard Yvonne Turner. Turner has appeared in 104 games over the course of 4 seasons in the league, the bulk of which came with the Phoenix Mercury from 17 to 19, averaging 5.2 points per game, 1.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 0.6 steals per game. An injury cost her the 2020 season. She did return to the league in 2022, signing hardship contracts with 3 teams, seeing action in just 9 games. So Turner is playing with Storm teammate Ezi Magbagor on a team in Hungary, Sopron, after starting the offseason with Polkowicz of the Polish EBLK. In the EuroLeague, she's averaging 7.8 points, 5 rebounds, 3.8 assists in 12 EuroLeague games, including 8 with Sopron. So that is the first move that the Storm made. We're going to acknowledge the second move. On the 8th, the team signed forward Theresa. The details of that contract did not get released. Plaisance, a 2022 WNBA champion with the Aces, was originally drafted by the Tulsa Shock in the 3rd round of the 2014 WNBA draft. She's a 9-year veteran, playing 5+ seasons with the franchise in Tulsa that would get relocated to Dallas and become the Wings prior to 2016. Dallas would trade her to Connecticut on August 6th of 2019, where she stayed until signing a contract in the offseason of 2021 with the Washington Mystics. Over the course of her 9 seasons in the league, Plaisance has averaged 4.5 points and 3 rebounds in 218 total games, shooting 34% from the 3, with 172 of her 350 career field goals coming from beyond the arc. Her best statistical season came back in 2017, when she averaged 7.7 points and 4.3 rebounds in 34 games for the Wings. She nearly matched those averages in 2021 with the Mystics, and contributed 4 points, 2.6 rebounds per game in 31 contests last season with Vegas. So before we get to a piece of news that caused some interesting replies on Twitter, just to note, as the Storm continue to build their roster now, that they've still got a lot of pieces to add. You could still add a point guard. Probably got to build out the rest of the bench. You've still got to see if Gabby Williams is coming back, and so on and so forth. Some people are wondering if Tina Charles will come back. I highly doubt that. But I talked about this last week as well, and agree with me or disagree with me or call me crazy. But I really think that with the flyers that the Storm are taking on some of these players that are either coming off of injuries or maybe haven't gotten the chance that they deserve in the WNBA, I think that Seattle can be a scrappy, tough, competitive, pain-in-the-behind kind of team that very well could scratch themselves into a playoff spot. I'm not going to say it's going to be a top one, but I think that Seattle's going to hang around this season. Obviously, you look at the name on the banner below me, and with Brianna Stewart leaving, you're thinking, all right, they're left in the dust. What can they accomplish now? This is a new era. They're rebuilding. And yes, this is a rebuild because you only had 2 players on the roster to begin this. But I want you to remember the player that Jewel Lloyd is and what she's able to contribute. The young rising star that Ezi Magbagor is and the growth that she's seen over the last few seasons. The presence that Mercedes Russell can bring, as she wasn't really able to play much of at all last season. And we thankfully got reports from our friend Rowan that she should be able to go. She's good to go for the upcoming season. So you've got 2 solid bigs in Magbagor and Russell, an incredible player on both sides of the ball in Jewel Lloyd. And you've got several players that this team has been adding through the offseason that they're taking flyers on and that likely just need a chance to prove themselves. And I really think that the Storm roster can battle for that. We can really look back at that in the later stages of the season and see how that ended up. But I believe in that. And I really do think that just seeing the sort of players that they're bringing in and the opportunities that are going to be given with essentially nothing being promised on this Storm team. So there were those two moves in Plaisance and Turner, and then on the 8th, there was an announcement made, a sort of release. The team is valued at a record-breaking $115 million. This is a WNBA record, not only a WNBA record, but also sort of a record in women's sports. This was announced following the sale of minority ownership stakes to help finance construction of the team's upcoming practice facility, set to be done in 2024. Back in 2008, the franchise was valued at only $10 million. The Storm's investment in a purpose-built facility similar to moves such as the Las Vegas Aces and in the NWSL, the Kansas City Current, adds an asset to the franchise and a mark of permanence for both the team and the league. Expansion fees in the National Women's Soccer League leapt from $2 million to $5 million in 2020, and then to about $50 million, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, for the franchises that are set to be awarded to groups in Boston and the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, this got some sort of backlash on Twitter because a certain Seattle account tweeted that they wished they had a damn basketball team back. And it's very important to note that we have a basketball team, a pro basketball team in the city. I understand that you might not like it, whatever BS excuse you may have for it, but you have to remember that the Storm are the most accomplished team in this city by league titles. They have 4. Nobody else is within, well, the Storm are with, pardon me, the Sounders are within 2 of them. But still, that's twice as many. And they've been a force in the WNBA for years, having some of the most accomplished WNBA players put on the Storm jersey. They're trailblazers, the organization itself, not the Portland Trailblazers. But respect needs to be put on this team. That's the bottom line. That's the point. Whenever I hear that, oh, we need a basketball team back in the city, check yourself, especially around me, because that's not right. We've had a basketball team in the city. And myself, with all we do here at Certainly Sell Sports, we're going to be very excited when the announcement that the city of Seattle is getting an NBA team back is announced. But we cover all of our teams here. We give them all the same respect. And the Storm deserve that respect of any of these teams that you're given. So I want to note that because we got some really weird replies when we were talking about that and we mentioned this value, this announcement, because again, this should be celebrated. This is something that should be celebrated. Those people that tweeted out something about Sue Bird, and they're going to tweet something like this. Remember what you're doing. Think about that. Think about that headspace. Anyway, we're going to move on. A league note, though. This is, we're talking about the Aces and their facility. And there's all this talk about super teams in the WNBA, with Candace Parker heading to Las Vegas, them getting also Alicia Clark, the Liberty, and Stewie, and Courtney Vandersloot. On the 8th, it was announced that Las Vegas is under investigation by the WNBA for circumventing the salary cap. They've been accused of making under-the-table payment offers to current and former players, as well as the issue with trading Dearica Hamby. I don't know if we touched on the Dearica Hamby issue, so I'm going to mention that. The Aces traded Hamby to the Los Angeles Sparks immediately after they found out that Hamby was pregnant. So Las Vegas has got some stuff that they got to handle. It'll be really interesting. We're going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to keep that in our league notes as soon as we continue to get developments about that. But that's pretty big news, and that's a pretty big issue for a team that looked to be one of the 2 that were going to be destined to be in the WNBA Finals this upcoming season.